You got it locked on Rhodium Radio.
Okay, let's go. Yo, 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 yo. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Still any sound? Yo, 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 yo. Let me know if you guys can hear me. All righty then. We're in business. I guess we're just going to go ahead and start the show because for some reason that we had an update last night and it screwed up the whole sound, set everything back to default. And for some reason, we're having trouble with the audio, so we're going to get that fixed before we actually play the main event videos. So for right now, we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it with my very special guest, none other than Darren Vegas.
What's up? What's up?
You know what, man? First of all, I apologize for everything that's happening. Every time that we have an update, it just screws everything up. We had a show. We had people that actually drove in from Fresno one time, and our card went out. You know, our graphics card, and we had no show that day, and they literally drove down. And I was thankful that the guy who was actually her manager owns like a computer store. This guy drove all the way back and drove back the next day and gave me a graphics card.
Yeah, that's a good guy.
Yeah, man. So other than that, how are you doing, man?
Good, just chilling, you know.
You know what's funny, man? I'm gonna bring something up really, really quick. Hopefully I didn't erase it. But you were here, this is episode 174. You were here episode 46.
Damn.
46.
You did a lot of episodes since.
That was 128 episodes ago.
Wow, that's crazy.
Now, for people, let's just say that may not know exactly who Darren Vegas is, can you kind of give us a quick little recap of how you got into this music industry and pretty much so people that are barely tuning in can know who Darren Vegas is?
I'm a music producer, songwriter, used to rap a little bit. I still ghost write a lot of songs for artists and stuff. But yeah, I produced my whole life, basically. I started doing records. I did my first record at Death Row Records like in 95, I think it was, or 96, and ended up going on the Dogfather album. Was supposed to sign a Death Row back then in the mid-90s. And the guy that was managing me, that was putting the deal together, Big Jake, he passed away. He had got shot in Atlanta with the whole East Coast, West Coast thing that's when that really jumped off. And so my deal was lost at that time. So long story short, I ended up going back to work, working a regular job, then ended up hooking up, got my own record label, had a group called California Organization. That was all West Coast, like I'm from Orange County. We hooked up with Compton's Most Wanted, South Central Cartel, like JEDI was on there, Dazzy D, and did a record. We're supposed to get all this money from it. We didn't end up getting paid. And then I ended up hooking up with Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Okay.
And that was like in 99, I think it was, and ended up working on the Resurrection album.
You know, one thing that I've learned from you was this, that first of all, I think you're one of those guys that are like one of those hidden gems that has worked with everybody, has produced for a lot of people, has done so much, and for some reason, a lot of people never heard of you.
You know what? I never had really wanted the fame part of it. I was just like, let me just do the music and make the dope records and give me, pay me to do what I do.
Right.
And even when I first started, I didn't really care about the money. I just loved music so much.
Right.
So I was in there producing records for all these artists, and I wasn't really in the forefront. I was kind of the guy that was in the background where everybody would come to get their music, but I wasn't like in music videos dancing around and all shit like that. I was more just like, hey, when you're serious about it, come to me. Let's make the fucking songs. You know what I mean? And I got lucky to have like, you know, a few #1 albums on artists that I had worked with and produced on and stuff. And then, you know, Suge had ended up signing me as a head producer at Death Row, like in 2001, I think it was. And did the Tupac records over there, End of Time, and that went #1. And the Bone Thugs Resurrection had went #1. And so then I was just like, I was off to the races. I was producing tons of music over there.
Right.
You know,
did Suge ever like tell you, get in videos, man, show your face, or, you know?
He had actually wanted me to rap because I used to rap. I got on the music. I was a DJ, first of all. First I played piano and drums, then I was a DJ. Then I used to rap because I was around rap my whole life. So I got tired of listening to rappers that sucked. I'd be like, bro, spit it like this. Boom, 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 you know? And so just being around rap my whole life, I could fucking freestyle. I could write raps all the time. And so I would always work with artists and help co-write a lot of the songs, like co-write some of the choruses and stuff like that.
Right.
On the Tupac ones that I did at Death Row, I co-wrote the choruses and stuff too, you know, had the singers come in and do it. You know, I think a lot of producers can rap. You know what I mean? Guys that are, some of them suck, but, you know, some of them could really rap. And Suge used to hear me rapping all the time. And I remember one time he was like, fuck that, you're coming up. I want you to be on the record rapping. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do it. I remember he got kind of pissed. He was like, no, what?
Right.
You know?
But you know what? I'm glad you said that about producers, because I do want to shine a little bit light on producers. I want to say good producers.
Yeah.
A lot of good producers know how to rap.
Yeah.
And it's very, very true. I don't know how to rap. I never tried. I was, you know, DJ was my strength, producing was my strength, mixtapes, you know, and now I like directing, you know.
Yeah.
But as far as, I would give a lot of rappers ideas, like say something like this.
Yeah.
No, that chorus is that's not going to work. You got this little piece in this verse that sounds dope.
Yeah.
Just repeat that over here and just add another 4 bars.
I mean, that's almost the same thing. Like if you're a good producer, there's beat makers that just make beats. Then you got guys that really can coach an artist on the chorus and the raps and stuff. And you know what sounds good on your beat. If the shit sounds whack, you're going to tell them, hey, dude, you're fucking off my beat.
And you know what? That's another thing I'm glad you said, because there's been times that I've sold beats, you know, and back then, like the Homie Special was like $2,500 a track, you know.
Yeah.
And some of those lyrics, those raps were just horrible, like horrible. And it was to the point where, like, I brought in one of my homies that is a big time, like, hip hop producer, underground hip hop producer, rapper. And I said, just come with me to this session. He liked the track, but when I raised up the vocals on the guy that was rapping, this guy was high and he was laying back. And when he heard the vocals, he goes, what the fuck was that? And I said, why? He goes, are you producing that? And he made me feel bad because I'm like, yeah, I'm selling him this track. And he goes, dude. He goes, nah, dude. He said, don't do that to him. And because everybody kept telling me the track's blowing him away. The track. Have you ever done that where the track is almost so dope that the guy is just, he's not up there with that track?
My whole life. You know, but then there's certain artists that would say you have a beat. Sometimes you're like, you don't really like the beat that much. You're like, this beat is okay. And then you hear their voice, what they're doing on it. And I'll be like in the studio, like, yo, what did you just say?
Right.
Do that again. I'm like, bro, get in there on the booth. And then it just brings the whole song to life. So, you know, there's a difference between quality rappers and just guys that want to rap, you know.
Right.
Some of them are good and some of them aren't. And, you know, you could really tell the difference when you produce music every day of your life, you know. You know when you got one of those artists like, this motherfucker can rap.
Yes. And I think we have one.
Yeah.
So, you know, and there's a lot of dope rappers, not to take away anything from anybody else, because one thing that I like to say, that if you have a dream, you know, pursue your dream. But I also like to say this behind that. But make sure that when that door opens, that you have talent to back up that dream.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of guys that just have that dream, just don't have the talent. You got to find what your niche is, you know, your craft, and pursue it.
Yeah.
Believe me, a lot of guys told me, you should start rapping. First of all, I know I suck, you know.
That's the first step.
You know, I know I suck, bro. And I'm not going to sit there and try to make a fool of myself because I can rhyme cat with hat.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. And the sad thing is that a lot of the game today, that's what we hear.
Yeah.
You know, guys, I just want to start rapping. How long you been rapping? 6 months. Yeah, I'm all over YouTube. And we've flooded or crowded the game with a bunch of guys that really
Mediocre artists.
mediocre artists. Yes. So now when you tell somebody you're a rapper, they're like, ah, shit.
I mean, it's the same thing with producers now too.
Yes.
Now that computers, you know what I mean, it makes it a lot more accessible to make beats and stuff like that.
Right.
You got a lot of guys saying they're producers and stuff, and they're not really good. But then you got certain cats that might not have had the chance. They
Right.
didn't have the money to get all the equipment and stuff. Like, you know, we went through where you had to buy all this shit. The shit was thousands of dollars.
Thousands
back
of
then.
dollars, bro.
Now you can just go get a computer and you can start making beats. So that there is some guys that are just so fucking dope, like these young kids, some of them, and I hear their beats, I'm like, bro, this guy's amazing. He might not have had that chance,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
if he had to buy an MP and everything else back in the day. You know?
I remember in this studio at one point, I had over $30,000 worth of equipment, which to a lot of people probably isn't nothing, but maybe to this generation, it's a lot.
Yeah.
I remember when I went out and bought my Avalon mic preamp when it first came out, it was $2,500.
Yeah, it still is.
Oh, it still is?
It's more than that now. The Avalon, the 737, I
Yeah.
had one too. Yeah.
Yeah, I went ahead and got it at West LA Music.
Yeah.
That's actually where I met the guy who looked like Rod Stewart on crack, who built my studio.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was just telling somebody, he was bragging, he did Elton John's studio, he did Barbra Streisand's studio. So I just said, you know what, let me talk to him. So I talked to him, he came down here from Tarzana and built my shit.
Nice.
But that's where I pretty much met, well, that's pretty much where I got all my equipment from. That's where Quick will get his equipment from. I actually saw Stevie Wonder in there one day as well.
Yeah.
You know, it was a small place.
I went up there too. I remember one time I saw like the lead singer from Journey in there or something.
Yes.
I was up there and I looked to the left and I'm like, that's motherfucking Steve Perry right there, I think.
That's him. Yeah, that's the place. And they closed down. I don't know why, but they closed down. But now we're stuck with Sam Mash and Guitar Center. Dudes are like, hey man, do you have a, quarter inch and, XLR? Oh no, we don't carry those no more. Well, it's right there. Oh, there it is. Half of those, so anyways. But now, you said something very interesting last time you were here. And again, just to give a quick recap, you actually shared that you went and would go visit Suge in jail.
Yeah, that's how so what's crazy is I was supposed to sign in the 90s. My deal fell through. Manager passed away. I ended up working with an artist named Crooked Eye, and I was doing all his music with him and another buddy of mine, Jim Gedham. And so there was a couple street guys that grew up in Suge's neighborhood that he knew. There was another street guy who was in the music business at that time, Big C style. And I was working with all these people at the same time. And so Suge was hearing about me from all these guys. And then he remembered, oh wait, that's the dude Big Jake had brought for me to sign back then. So he actually sent for me to go up to the prison to meet him at Mule Creek State Prison, which was like, at that time I didn't give a fuck. I'm like, there was only 2 labels really. There was less than 5 labels really on the West Coast that you could make it with in hip hop. None of the major labels were doing like big shit with rap really, or they were doing a lot of corny shit. It was either Death Row, Ruthless, like Priority, like Profile, I think, so, and Death Row had been the biggest company, the biggest hip hop company ever. So when he hit me, I was like, let's roll. So they flew me up to the prison. I was walking around the thing with them inside there, and he's like, yo, I want you to come produce a Death Row. And he goes, I'm gonna make you the biggest producer in the world. This is shit that he taught. I'll never forget this conversation. He was like, yo, I invest in producers, you know what I mean, just as much as artists, because a producer can produce his whole life. A lot of artists, their lifespan is shorter unless they really blow up. Then, so, but a producer can produce all my different artists, because I was an actual player. I could play keys and make beats, so I could do R&B, rap, and stuff. And so we ended up working out a production deal right there in the prison. I think I visited him a couple times, and then he was like, look, I'm going to give you this chunk of change right here. I want you to go work on the Tupac records. The End of Time. I did a song called Happy Home and Why You Turn on Me. And he had heard the Crooked Eye album. And me and Crooked Eye had took, the opportunity. We went in the studio. I hooked us up a deal to do the whole album. We did it on our own, even though he was signed with Dog Pound Records through. But there was no budget. So I went and did a deal with the studios and all that and got the record done. And that fucking record was a monster at the time. You know, if that would have dropped right then, it would have blew the fuck up.
Right. At that time on Death Row, was there any other producers working with you as well?
Yeah. So the head producer that was there at the time was Hutch. I don't know if he was the head producer, but he was working with Suge.
From Above the Law.
Yeah, and I had always looked up to him and like his records. Like I remember reading the Above the Law fucking credits and stuff like that when Ruthless had first started. And I'm like, these guys are fucking dope, you know. So he had came to the sessions when I was working with Crooked Eye, and he had put it in Suge's ear too, like, yo, they're making a dope record. So me and Hutch went in there and started working on the Tupac records with Jim Gedham and Crooked Eye, and he was kind of in charge of the whole album, and we ended up working together. We ended up doing a whole lot of songs together there. And
I just have a question as a producer. So when you say you worked on Tupac stuff, obviously you had the 2-inch reels.
Yeah, so Tupac had passed, and Suge was like, yo, I need new beats on these records. You know, I just have the vocals, the songs weren't done. He said he went in there and would do the rap so fast that the records weren't finished. You know, so I want you to go in there and make new records for it. You know, there's certain raps that we're going to keep, and, you know, we got to go through them or whatever. So it's kind of Hutch's job to go through and see which ones, you know, we were going to work on. And when I heard Happy Home and Why You Turn on Me, I just said, turn it up. You know what I mean? Just turn up his vocal, the acapella. And when I heard Pac's vocals, I just started making the beat. Oh, I had the MP right there. My boy Monster O from the Booyah Tribe was playing guitar. And he was my partner. He played on a lot of stuff with me. Right. So it was a good opportunity, you know.
Now I have to bring this up because for a lot of people that may not know what a 2-inch reel, we're talking about tape.
Tape.
It was a 2-inch reel. So what did it cost? About a $125 for a 15-minute tape?
I think so. Yeah, I know you could put 3 songs on them. Is what we used to max out at. Usually.
Now, how did it feel loading it up, man, and hearing Tupac's voice?
It was crazy. You know, when the dude came there with the reels, he had like handcuffs to the reels like this. He was in a suit with a gun and came in like an all-black Blazer or Suburban. And I was like, man, this is fucking dramatic, right?
Right.
But then if you realize it, those masters were worth probably $50-60 million or more. They're still selling.
Yeah.
You know, to this day,
it's always gonna sell.
Those records are selling forever. So I was like, I didn't realize it at the time. I'm like, man, you know, this guy is like, he looked like he wanted to kill somebody when he was walking in there, just looking, you know. That shit was gold, man, those vocals right there.
You know, it's funny because about 2 years ago, I want to say about 2 years ago, I shared a story before. Me, High C, Quick, Sugar Free, AMG, Second to None, we did a show in Arizona. And after that, we went to a different part of Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona. Game was there, and we were all chilling there, having drinks. And all night, they were just playing like this trap shit, you know, not my type of music. And everybody was dancing. Everybody was jamming. Okay, and we're leaning against the bar. I got introduced. What was it, Ciroc, pineapple Ciroc with pineapple juice and a little bit of Red Bull. So I was
used to drink that. I still do. So.
Yeah. So and that was actually good. So I'm sitting there bored as hell because this music just does nothing for me. Okay. Quick's looking bored, High C's looking bored, and we're just chilling while everybody's jamming, you know. And then all of a sudden, I guess the DJ must have hit stop like on the turntable, and he threw in dun, 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 California Love.
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't know, for some reason it was like if Dre and Pac were there performing because the fucking crowd erupted, and more people got on the dance floor and started jamming. To me, that proved to me a point. Okay, I looked at Quick and he was bobbing his head, and I said, "Look, let me tell you something. I don't think that our music evolved." I said, "I think they changed it on us, bro." I said, "Look how fucking crazy the people are still going over these songs." Yeah. Over these songs. Now, I know some people like the new stuff. I don't. Cool, whatever. But I like our shit. I like our sound. And the people still went fucking crazy. And after that, they played Somebody Here Gonna Fuck from the other Chronic.
Yeah.
And people were just going nuts. And I said, dude, people still jam to this shit, bro. This sound is still alive. You know, but a lot of people want to follow the leader and, if you will, jump on this new shit that's out right now. And when it's cool, whatever, you know, if it makes money for them or if it works for them, cool. But I honestly think that this sound's about to go out.
Well, you know, hip hop goes in cycles too. You know, like as long as I've been doing it my whole life. So like you will see certain sounds come in, they'll go out, and they come back in. It's just like clothes and fashion.
Like clothes, yeah.
You know.
It's just like actors. Remember when Burt Reynolds was out of here and then he came back?
Yeah.
What was that? What was that movie that he was in? Fucking
Porno
Boogie
movie
Nights.
and shit. Yeah.
Dirt Diggler.
Boogie Nights. Classic shit.
Boogie Nights. If you guys haven't seen Boogie Nights, you guys got to check out Dirt Diggler. But now, man, you know what? I hate starting like this because of the sound and shit like that. Got all my questions fucked up. But now, as far as a producer, I know you say you play keys because I've seen you, but only in the video you played guitar. Was it lead or was it bass?
On which one?
I saw a video that you posted on your page.
You know, a lot of times I'll play like a simple guitar lick and then I'll sample it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Loop it, and then I'll play another little guitar lick. I'm not a good guitar player, but I have an ear for music, so I'll lay some chords down, and if I hear a lick and I mess around that I like it, I'll do the background, then I'll do a lead. I'll sample it just like you would sample another record.
Yeah.
You don't got to clear shit because you played it, you know? So, you know, when I really need a really good guitar player to come in, I'll bring in people to do it. Right. But, you know, when you're in the studio just by yourself vibing and shit like that, I just pick up the instruments and do it. Same with percussion, you know, and anything I get my hands on, you know, except for horns. I could never play horns.
And I saw you play a little bit percussion. Was that just a little bit enough to sample?
You know, sometimes I'll play through the whole song because I like live elements in the music. So a lot of times I'll play a shaker through the whole song or a tambourine, you know, or I'll get on the congas and play, you know, just little parts and stuff.
And you know what's funny? I'm glad you said that because for young producers that are watching, back in the day, that's the only way we had to do it. We didn't have something where you could just loop it and loop it and loop it. I remember I did a song in 1994 with Eric Bobo, and he played the congas and the bongos all the way through. All the way through. Like, he was right on time and said, okay, let's go to another track, play a little bit of bongos here and there, play some timbales, but all the way through. Today, you just play it once. What do you want it? And then you just kind of like...
Yeah, and, you know, I do that too.
Right. You know, and that's a good thing about technology.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I used to love, like, I hired Robert Bacon, who played a lot of stuff for DJ Quick.
Guitar player.
Yeah. And
super dope.
He would just play with his eyes closed, and he'd sit on his stool, and I would just let him play all the way fucking through.
I always loved his sound.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever worked with him or not, but I just used to look at Quick's credits and like, who is that guy playing guitar? He
wasn't funky. He was funky.
Yeah, he was dope, dude. And his sound was so clean sounding.
Right.
Probably a combination of him and Quick, too, you know.
After your interview here, I believe it was episode 46, what I said earlier, a lot of people hit me up. Who is that guy? Who is that guy? Who is that guy? And I would just shoot them your page, you know what I'm saying, to contact you. I don't know if a lot of traffic came to you during that time.
A lot of them did, dude. My shit was crazy, dude. Like, hey, yo, how do I work with you? What do I got to do?
Yeah.
I'm like, first go to the bank. If you don't got no money in the bank, go get a job. When you get your money together, hit me, you know, we'll make it happen. But, you know, I work out deals for everybody. So.
Yeah. Have you ever had anybody saying, I ain't got no money, but I'll shout out your name on the track?
Yeah. And I'm like, bro, I don't really need that shit.
That shit don't pay fucking bills, bro.
Hell no.
No, I've had people that have told me that. And to be honest with you, I won't even mimic or repeat what they've told me. I felt bad, but we got bills too.
Yeah.
You know, we got bills too. We just can't do shit for free.
This is my career. Like a lot of people, they have, you know, they do music and then they have a regular job, a 9 to 5. Shit, this has been my 9 to 5 for 30 years, 25 years.
Have you ever got to a point in your life where you just said, you know what, fuck this, I'm going to go get me a job?
Yeah. Yeah, it happened a few times. Usually when I was owed hundreds of thousands of dollars from record labels and they didn't pay me.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're like, who do I got to kill? Because you're fucking mad, you know what I mean? You're like, dude, I did all this fucking work hoping the shit would blow up. It's number one. Where's my fucking check? And they'll bullshit you, dude. They do not want to pay you. As rich as they are, like.
I know.
I do not fuck with record labels really anymore. Now it's like, I'm like, and I try to tell artists, like, look, dude, if you don't need to fuck, all you need a label for now is promotion. You know what I mean? That's all you need them for. You know,
right.
You can get a booking agent, you can book your shows, the studio is affordable, the production, put your music out, make one dope song after another with dope visuals. Don't put out garbage. Don't copy other people's shit. Just make up your own dope style. Be you.
Right.
And you don't need the record labels for that stuff. But, you know, that's just when I was coming up, if you didn't sign a record deal, you would no one would ever know who you were. So
That's very, very true. And today with social media, it helps us all. You can
Yeah.
promote yourself. It's pretty much your own website.
it's crazy, dude. Like I have people. Luckily, I have people that hit me every day, like DMing, "How do I work with you? What do I got to do?" You know, their biggest thing, like I changed my prices from $10,000 a song to $1,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'll work deals with people because these are like young artists that are just trying to come up in the game. They don't have a whole bunch of money.
No.
You know, so it's like, why tell them? Yeah, you know what? It's $5,000 for the song, but they don't have the money.
Right.
So what good is that going to do? I'm like, look, let's work a deal. We'll work out a payment plan if we have to or whatever. Let's make these songs, and we both get a percentage of the sales. A lot of young artists don't realize that either.
No, because they don't know the business side of it.
Yeah, some producers would just say, you know, buy this beat for this much, and you take it and do what you want. But if you've had success in music, like we have, you know that your music is worth a lot more than the $1,000 up front or whatever it is, you know, because that shit's gonna it has a chance to fucking sell.
Right.
You know, life-changing money. I remember like when I did get royalty checks, they were like $50,000 a pop, you know, so I was like, that's like real money.
Real money. Yeah.
know?
And I think one thing that I encourage, especially a lot of Chicano rappers that come here and I interview, many of them I realize are content with making maybe a couple of thousands, but I always tell them, look, reinvest it so that way it can make you some more money. Forget about the chains, forget about the belt buckles and the shoes or whatever. Invest it in something so you can continue to feed yourself.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Well, I need some beats off of you. I'll pay cash. I said, okay, well, what are you paying? Well, I got $50 a beat. You know, and I'm like, bro, that's like gas money and a hamburger special, bro.
That's not even a tank of gas.
Yeah, and I'm like, now, and for a while, I think I was upset that a lot of producers were doing that. 2 beats for $50, 3 beats for $50, today only. You know, and I'm like, what the hell?
You
Like,
can't do anything. See, what's crazy is I used to look at it different ways. I'm like, they just don't know any better.
right.
You know, but you can either get with the shit that's going on in the world, or you can sit back and be pissed off about it.
Right.
I started leasing beats to people, which I had never done in my career because I've always been so busy. I didn't have, so now I produce independent artists. I'll custom make songs for them, but then I just now started leasing beats too, to where I'm like, dude, there's people all over the world that want to work with me and they can't come here to work with me. So I'm gonna let them lease the beats for, you know, $100.
Now when you lease a beat, like let's just say somebody the next day tells you, hey, I want that beat. Would you lease it again to that person?
You can lease when you lease a beat, you can lease it as many times. You can lease the same beat for $100 1,000 times. So really, what it's doing is giving the artist a chance to get on a dope beat that they might not be able to afford. They can go put a video out. Like the way the new system works is like I have a thing on my BeatStars where you can sell up to like 2,500 copies. You know,
Right.
you can lease the beat for $100. So it works for them. Then they can go get a video done for $500 to $3,000 or whatever their video budget is, because these guys don't have a lot of money. They're young artists. Labels aren't giving them money like they used to do. You can't really get record deals like that anymore until you start to blow up a little bit.
Yeah, you pretty much got to blow up on your own.
You got to start to blow up on your own. And I suggest that. I tell people, I said, look, give yourself some leverage first. Do this shit on your own. Make some noise. Then when a label comes to you, you can negotiate. Otherwise, you're going to get fucked.
Plain and simple. So we're going to go ahead and press pause right there, and we're going to go ahead and go to a commercial. Hopefully the audio works. If you can't hear it, you know what? Give us 5 minutes. We're going to come right back. I'm going to cut the 10-minute breaks to 5 minutes to try to stay on time with everything that we've been doing. If you guys do not hear the music during the breaks or the commercial, Darren Vegas commercial, we'll come right back. So 5 minutes. We'll be right back.
shit, bent over to the side, bumping that fucking Rhodium shit. And he had a tape that only came from right there. And if you didn't know about that place or you didn't live in that area, you didn't have that shit. So that's kind of one up that the harbor area had on a lot of other people. Compton was next door, but that harbor area was ended in Gardena. You know what I'm saying? So, man, those were great times, man.
A Rhodium mixtape is like a kilo of cocaine. It's like a kilo of amigo powder. You get that shit.
What's up? My name's Darren Vegas. I'm a multi-platinum producer and engineer out of Orange County, California. I'm like a coach that's going to help take you to the next level. A lot of people think that you can just download beats off YouTube and all of a sudden you're going to make it in the rap game. Boy, it takes a lot more than that. There's a lot of techniques that I've learned over the years that I'm going to teach you. Valuable stuff that you just can't get anywhere else. I custom produce artists. So when you come in the studio, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to see what kind of artist you are. And I'm going to custom make the music right for you, right on the spot. So you're a part of it. You know, it's something that a lot of artists and a lot of producers don't really get to do. You know, I feel that the interaction is going to make the music the best that it can be. So if you're there for the making of the beat and the music, you know you're going to feel that music. I'll produce the track for you. You could take it home, work on it, practice it, come back to the studio. We'll work on it together, and then you're going to lay your vocals, and you're not going to believe like how you sound.
You for coming here. I know you don't do a lot of interviews, and why is that?
I just always hated to go do them. I don't know. Like, to me, I was always just wanted to make the music. I'm like, I would tell the artist, you go be the front guy. Let me just, when you come back, I'll be in the studio mixing your record.
Okay.
But I realized that was probably a big mistake. That's why people don't know me. Because a lot of people don't read the records and shit. And nowadays, there is no fucking record. You know what I mean? So it's like, unless your name is on the cover or whatever, people don't know you did it, dude. I've made so many fucking songs in my life, dude, that it's insane. Like, to think of, I couldn't put a number on how many songs I've produced.
Wow.
It's like I've been doing it since 95.
And people don't even know you.
Before that, bro.
You were actually a DJ first.
Yeah. I DJ'd, me and J-Rock, my buddy, he ended up blowing up as a DJ, the Beat Junkies. You know, him and M.R..DEE and the other guys. Like me, J-Rock would be in his, you know, back room mixing and making beats every day.
Right.
We were in a rap group together. So, and they were always just so dope. He was so creative with, as far as coming out the crates. And Melody's just an insane scratcher, dude. Like, I always loved his style, dude. He's fucking super. I still run into him all the time because we both play poker. Yeah. So I'll see him in the casino.
As a matter of fact, I had them booked. It wasn't confirmed, but I had Rhythmatic and DJ Melody booked, but this was during the quarantine thing.
Yeah.
And I guess one of their family members got sick, and they were like, I'm not going to go out and come back and maybe give them something. Yeah. So we had to like postpone it for a while. There was a lot of people that just didn't want to come out, and believe me, I get it, because a lot of people took it very, very serious, you know, as you should. Yeah. You know, but I just wanted to bring that out because a lot of people didn't know that you were actually a DJ first, you know. Yeah. And producing, and now you got your own studio now. We played your commercial again because I wanted people to see what you do.
Thank you.
Because I know there's people that, many artists, they're rappers and they may be great, but they don't know what to do or how to go to that next level. And I think you're the perfect guy for that. Yeah, you know, as a matter of fact, we got one of our friends here, Magic Girl, and I told her, I recommend him for you for him, work together, bring your tracks, drop your vocals or whatever, it'll work, you know. And let's talk a little bit about that. You actually worked on a couple of her songs.
Yeah.
And I like the way, in a sense, where you were like coaching her, producing her, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you know, people come to me all the time and like Magic Girl, she makes her own beats too. You know, so it's like she might bring a track over there, or maybe I'll add some stuff to it with the beat too or whatever. But when they get in the booth, it's natural for me to coach them like, hey, try this or do this, or let's try this harmony right here, or let's do this on the backgrounds and stuff like that, you know.
Especially a person with like yourself with all this experience, is because I've gone to several, if you want to call them studio sessions. It was just a bunch of guys drinking 40s and smoking weed all damn day.
Yeah.
And then by the time the guy wants to, you know, we have to wake the guy up to do his vocals. And he'll do maybe 1 or 2 passes. Punch me in right here, you know, like the last 2 bars. And then he's done. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that was a practice run.
Yeah.
No, that was good, bro. You just woke up.
Yeah, well, some people don't give a fuck. You know, to me, when it comes to music, I'm so passionate about it, like almost at a fault sometimes, to where I'm like, you know, I could be making more money doing this or that. But when I work on a project or something, like, I'm so into it, you know, like and even if I think an artist is okay, I want to make them better.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like if you do music, it's not, you don't get into music because you just want to be rich. If you did that, then you're not going to make money anyway.
Right.
You got to have the passion for it. You got to really love it, because especially in the music business, it's not an easy route to take.
Right.
You know,
right.
it's a tough life, but it's a great life, because if you love what you're doing, you're always winning. You know.
Yes, yes. And we have another friend here, Erica and Bella. Yeah. And you worked with Bella. I just had her here not too long ago.
Yeah.
And you actually tracked her as well. Now, the reason why I'm throwing these names out, because I want people to know that you work with a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Up and coming artists, you know, who we just mentioned.
Yeah.
What is one thing that you could say you took away from working with Bella? Because I think that at that time she was still 17 years old.
She was 17 years old. Yeah, that was her first. I actually produced her first EP, so I did the beats with her. You know, well, not with her, but she, you know, I did the beats, but she would give her input, like, hey, I like this style, or I like that style, you know. And she's pretty new to it, but I remember when I put her on the mic, like, I was like, fuck, she fucking ripped the mic.
Right.
And she's just this little thing just in there, like, you know, like lightning comes in small packages is an old saying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she just had so much passion about it, and I liked her because I could tell that she came from a music background. And then once we started talking, you know, when I start to work with artists, I sit down with them. I sat down with her and her manager, Erica, and like, what do you want to do? What do you see yourself doing? What do you like? Like, what's your background? You know what I mean? What's your story? You know? And then it just makes it so much easier to produce them and stuff, you know?
Right,
so,
right.
And I think she is a great talent. And I think she's going to go a lot of places too. I think she's finding her sound as she's going, because when you first start off, you don't know what your sound is yet. You just know what you hear, and then you start putting your own shit together. So,
and I like what you said, that she was giving her input. You allow artists to give their input, because some may want to hear that snare a little bit louder, or take out that snare. Can we add a clap? Or instead of that kick, can we put an 808 sound? And I know you're open for things like that. A lot of producers will just say, well, this is my beat. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, sometimes you have a beat and you know that you're like, this beat is fucking fire, bro. You probably don't want to fuck with it too much.
Right.
Other beats, you know what I'm saying? Other beats, because a rapper will fuck your shit up too. Like, you know,
Yes.
Hey, turn up, dude, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Certain artists, I'll be like, you know what, you do have an ear for music.
Yeah.
So let's just, because you don't know everything. I've been doing this my whole life. You learn shit every day.
Right.
And this is a new generation, you know, they're listening to different shit that you might not have heard. And I just sit back sometimes. I'm like, you know what? That does sound dope. You know, so I'm always willing to try shit. But if somebody's whack, dude, and they're coming up with like crazy ideas, no.
Yeah. Another young artist that you've worked with is Doughboy Tony, who you brought today.
Yeah, and him the same way. Like, when he came in, like, he just has such a good head on his shoulders. He comes from a good family. His pops and me had talked a lot, and I like, you know, we're all from Orange County. You know what I mean? And his raps, dude, were just so like original. He had his own style. Like, he wasn't trying to bite and copy other people's shit. And I told him, I said, look, we're not going to change that shit. We're going to work on your sound. I said, it's going to take longer for you to make it. You know what I mean? But the cream always rises to the top, dude, and eventually people are gonna be like, yo, man, that motherfucker's dope. He's not like, you can jump on the bandwagon and try to sound like somebody else and just try to make a quick hit or a quick hot record. But right now, that's a problem to me. So many rappers sound alike.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So if you can develop your own style, it's gonna take longer, but the longevity is there. And nowadays, you don't need to be on the fucking radio to make enough money to make a good living in music. You find your own following. If you got 10 hardcore fans that'll buy your CD compared to, 20,000 that will like it but won't buy it or download it,
Won't support
it's a
you.
huge difference. Those numbers are bullshit. A certain amount of people liking your or viewing your shit is different than people that will actually buy your shit,
Yes.
buy your merch, and go to your shows.
And go to your shows. Yes.
That's why there's certain artists in the rap game that can still do tons of tours and shows to this day, like Bone Thugs, who I worked with before. They had their own sound. So people that fuck with Bone Thugs, they fuck with them heavy.
Yeah.
They buy all their shit. They love them. You
Right.
got people like a Tech Nine that's always been underground.
Right.
That has his own style that can pack shows. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? All these different. I worked with a group, Insane Clown Posse. I don't even know if you remember them.
Of course.
I worked with, and I remember when I met them. You never know what artists are gonna be like. They've already blown up. And we worked together a few years ago, and I just remember talking to Shaggy, I think it was, and he was just so humble and stuff. I'm like, dude, I go, people might talk shit about you, this or that. They develop their own lane. They have a fucking cult following.
Yes.
That they throw these huge events with and stuff, and they know every song they've ever done. They know their history. They have a whole group that comes up underneath. I go, bro, I respect you guys a lot for what you did.
Let's name some other groups that are different that always pack our shows. Cypress Hill.
Cypress Hill, they're fucking, bro, when they came out, dude, I remember sitting in the back of a car, like going to a show in LA and hearing Be Real and then, Sin Dog going, no, man. You know what I mean? And like just
Right.
hearing like Be Real's voice, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I just tripped out. I was like, they came with their own style.
And I'm glad you're saying that because, then you got groups like that have a cult following like Psycho Realm. Mm-hmm. You had, if you will, groups like Frost when he came out with La Raza. It's pretty much his own sound.
That was one of my, when that song came out, like, I think it like sparked my, I was DJing, playing that, and Kid Frost came there and performed it live when I was DJing.
Yeah.
And I first started producing music, and I just remember hearing that beat. I probably played it 3 times that night. And just when the sax, I think Tony G produced that beat.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and I was just like, dude, this fucking song is like,
Yeah.
Plus the whole Latin sound, the whole Hispanic sound, like with hip hop, and I had never heard that before.
Yeah.
Really.
And I'm glad we're bringing this up because we're talking about different.
Yeah.
And you were talking about Doughboy Tony, that it may take him a little bit longer, but he's finding his own sound.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about some artists that I introduced you to, and I kind of like told you, I think this guy's pretty damn good, Mr. D.
Yeah. And I remember when you called me, you said, Darren, I think I'm gonna get back into music and producing. I said, fuck, why you should.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you've been away from it too, and I know what that's like because I've stepped back from music before in my life because you get mad.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck this. You know what I mean? Because you've been through all this crazy shit. But then sometimes there's a certain talent or something that you might hear a song or somebody, and when you heard him, you're like, yo, I want to produce this guy. Do you want to work on it with me? And I'm like, let me check him out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I already knew by you calling me and telling me that he had to be pretty good.
Yeah.
And then I remember I watched his Instagram post and shit where he comes out the apartment rapping and shit. And I'm like, bro. And he has this old school look, like, like he looks like the cholos from back in the day. You know what I mean? But then when he starts spitting, you're like, bro, this motherfucker's spitting fire right here.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember when we were in the studio together for his first session, and he was really raw because he had never been in the studio before.
Yeah.
And I remember he dropped his 16, his first verse, and then he went right into his chorus and was about to start his second verse. Yeah. And I go, stop him, dude. And you were like, no, let him keep going.
Yeah.
And I think he knocked out his lyrics in a couple of passes because he was like right on.
He was just on point. That's why I looked at you and I was like, I started to get excited. Like, the artists in this room right now, I got excited too when I heard them. You know what I mean? There's certain people that you hear, and Mr. D, he was like, I don't think he had ever done backgrounds and all that stuff before or anything, but he was just so raw and just, you could just tell that he worked on his shit hardcore.
Yeah.
Like you're talking like this dude is rehearsing his shit 1,000 times at home before he walks in the studio door. And when he just walked in there, he just lit up the mic. I'm like, bro, this guy's a natural dude.
Yeah, I remember when I first interviewed him, I asked him, how long you been rapping? He goes, I think 2 years. And I was like he just picked it up 2 years ago. And I was like, all right. And one day I called him and I said, what are you doing? And he goes, practicing. Yeah. And I'm thinking like practicing like Tai Chi, karate or what? He goes, no, rapping. He goes, I just go over my lyrics.
You can tell. There's a difference between someone rapping 2 years that's really doing a bunch of bullshit and then getting drunk and writing a rap now and then or doing this or doing a verse and then like congratulating themselves compared to somebody that sits there and fucking studies hip hop. You could tell certain artists that study music. They study other artists and rappers and just when it comes out of them, you're just like, I get it. That's why I still do music. Because when I hear certain artists like that, I'm like, bro, this is somebody that can fucking take off.
Yeah, and it's crazy though, because just to touch on something, how we met, I know we're going to talk a little bit about it when he gets on, but I did a show with Ralph M. What I brought out my drum machine, the mixer, and my turntable. And I was just playing 90s beats. Everything that I did in the 90s, floppy disk, loaded up, play it, His manager approached me and said, hey, I want to have a meeting with you. And I was like, all right, cool. So they drove down like fucking 2 hours. And he goes, how much would you charge me to do an album? And I'll be real with you, Darren. I tried to talking them out of it. I said, I don't want to, look, I like the kid. I think he's dope, but I'm not the producer for him. At that time, I just didn't want to. Yeah. And he goes, I go, but you got all these producers, they'll probably charge you $50 for 3 beats. I said, plus if I charge you, I'm not cheap, bro. I said, I'm letting you know I'm not cheap. Yeah. No, well, how much? And I was like, well, I'll tell you what. And this was the deal. This was the deal, Darren. I said this, I don't know, let me think about it, man, and then we'll go from there. What kind of beats were you looking for? I need to hear him rap in front of me, And he was like, well, we're looking for that stuff that you played on your show. And I go, those are all old beats, though.
Well, they're still, I watched that show.
Yeah.
And I love you pulling up because I remember doing that, dude. Like, you'd have a room full of people and you got to plug in 3 floppy disks.
Yes. So I said, let me play them for you, and we played them, and he was just like, he was real quiet. He was sitting right there where you were, real quiet. And I'm kind of wondering, did this guy ever talk? And you like that? And he goes, hell yeah. And I was like, okay, let me play this one. That one's cool. What about this one? Hell yeah. So then I was like, okay, here's what we're going to do. And I told his manager this. I said, look, just so you know that I'm not about the money, because money does not impress me, bro. I've had that kind of money before. Why don't we do this? I'll give you 2 beats for free. I'll produce them. I get to direct the video. I call my guy in, and if you like what you hear, then I'll give you a price for an album. And I guess they were kind of like, for reals? And I was like, yeah, 2 beats for free. That's what I said. So then we booked you. Yeah. Because I don't trust too many people. Yeah. We went to your spot. We knocked them out. And I directed the video, and that's what we're going to see later on.
Yeah, and I haven't seen the video yet. I'm looking forward to it, too.
Yeah, what's funny? When I played the video for him, I asked him. He was sitting here, and he was like this. He was watching it, and I played it, and I was blasting that motherfucker. And then I just told him, what do you think on a scale of 1 to 10? Be honest. And he goes, it was a fucking 13. So, but he loved it. He thought it was amazing. Like, he really, really loved it. The first time seeing himself outside of a cell phone. Yeah. So I'm really excited that we're working together, and we've gone back to your studio, and we're going to go back because we got more tracks that we want to do. Yeah. So, and I'm also encouraging Magic Girl to get on it and get back into your studio.
Yeah. I'd like to produce some records on her too. We just haven't done it yet. Yeah. But the stuff we did, I liked it a lot, and I see like her potential big time too.
Just to kind of like give these artists props, what are the up and coming artists possibly have been going over there that maybe you care to mention? You've been working with, if you can mention?
God, there's such a huge list. Like, do you want me to just rattle off some of them real quick?
Or because I know you told me you had some written down, if I'm correct.
Because I work with so many. Let's see. My boy Matt Mauser, that was on America's Got Talent last night. He's not a rapper, he's a singer. Okay. But that was a crazy story. His wife was in the Kobe Bryant helicopter crash and stuff. And
you just share a little bit about that. That's your friend.
He's my good friend, and he's a successful musician his whole life. I mean, he makes a great living doing music. He had introduced me to Kobe Bryant back in the day. he was writing songs for Kobe, and then he brought me in to work on Kobe's the music for Kobe's podcast and stuff. And then we were going to be doing like a hip hop opera that we were going to work on with him and Kobe Bryant stuff. So I was doing like beats with them, and then went in the studio with him and Kobe and worked on music. And you could just tell Kobe Bryant loved music.
Right.
So that was an honor to get to work with him. But he's my friend, Matt Mauser. He was on America's Got Talent last night.
Okay.
His wife had died on the helicopter crash with Kobe. So it's, I mean, I'm very close with the whole family. He actually produced his 2 kids. They sing and stuff too. So, but he's like, I told him today, I go, dude, you're my hero, man. Anybody that can still, like, I was with them when all this stuff was going on. Like, you know, it's tough to pull yourself together when you got 3 kids and you lose your wife, you know.
Yeah.
So, but go support him. He's on America's Got Talent this season, and he's a great talent. I mean, he kills shows. He has a full band, the Tijuana Dogs, that performs all over the place, and then he has a Frank Sinatra like tribute orchestra, and he makes a great living doing music.
Dope,
So
dope.
he's one of them. Doughboy Tony, we worked on a lot of projects together, and he's like, to me, a great work in progress, because his shit was just starting to bubble, him doing shows and stuff before the whole pandemic stuff started, and now he's back out there. I think he has a show with Sugar Free next week, so, or the 16th or something. MR.DEE, of course, my homeboy Lottie the G. I just mixed a all Spanish album for him last week that just came out.
Really?
Yeah, it's a dope album too. King Little G, I'm always working with him on different projects. You know, he's already like, he kind of led the way for a lot of these artists. Somebody that's independent, that's making a great living doing music, you know, with his branding. I still learn from him because the shit that he does, I'm like, bro, I can't believe you figure out how to do all this shit.
Right.
You know,
Right.
he used to tell me, dude, you need to get on MySpace and all this shit. When that shit was first coming, I'm like, bro, I ain't fucking doing that shit. You know, he was right. You know, so my boy Hectic, super dope artist.
Yeah, I had him here. Yeah, you connected me with him.
Yeah, we're working on his EP right now. My boy Rick Wall, he's from Huntington Beach. He just did a song with Lottie the G. I got a guy Flawless from Sacramento that just came down, and we did an EP. Magic Girl, Thug Dice, Desi Hollow, who's been on your show.
Yeah.
We just did a song 2 weeks ago. He's super talented.
Yeah.
Funky West Coast music. Like, I love his shit. Like, I was like, bro, you got your own, like, you developing your own
Style.
and sound. So when he hit me, I was excited because I had seen him on your show, and I'm like, I would like to work with that guy. It's so crazy because then he hit me like within a week. You probably told him.
I told him.
Yeah.
I told him. But let me say this, because right after the show, there's 2 people that I said I need you to work with. You know, eventually, one of them was Magic Girl, the other one was my boy DJ Dominator.
Yeah.
You know,
he's dope too.
Yeah. So I said, and then if you ever want a studio time engineer, somebody that you can trust, somebody that's dope and has been in the business a long time, Darren Vegas. So there's 3 people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I like Dominator shit. I listen to it like when he drops music, and then we've worked on projects together. We haven't met in person, but I think he did a beat with Magic Girl that I worked and mixed.
Yeah.
And I think he did one with for MR.DEE that we're working on right now.
Yes.
Yeah. So of course Bella, another guy Steve Gotti, my homie Richie Rich from Orange County, not the one from the Bay. A new artist Rory from Hawaii, Rory Redmond. I'm working with a guy from Saudi Arabia named Maz is his rap name. He was thinking of his name. But this dude learned how to speak English from Tupac records.
Really?
Yeah, and it's crazy because his voice sounds a lot like Tupac, dude. And he just he came here to you know, make a better, you know, life for himself, make a living over here and stuff like that. He just became a pilot, but he wanted to rap, and he came to me and told me his dream, how he learned how to speak English from listening to Tupac records and shit. Wow. And so I'm producing this stuff right now, and he's already getting noticed from like big time people in Saudi Arabia that want to like back him. Like a Prince hit him up the other day and was like, yo, I just saw a video of people doing your songs, and I can't believe that's you, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, I can't believe how fast some people learn how to speak English. And, you know, I'm half Mexican and Spanish. My Spanish is terrible. I've been here my whole life, dude, and my Spanish sucks, but so shout out to him. A female that I work with, Jazz, she sings on a lot of the artists that I'm producing.
Okay.
She's incredible, dope voice. So, and another cat, Johnny Love, who's doing a funk project with me. He's from Orange County, Santa Ana too. He's
Okay.
a super talented guy too.
Now, do you ever plan on coming out with a rap album yourself?
Rapping, it's so funny, dude. Because back in the day, I had started a project that I was gonna do when I was stuck at death row, and I remember I played it for Suge, because me and Suge were kind of having like a beef, I guess, at one point. And me and my homeboy Rudy had a meeting with them, and my homie Rudy was like, you know, he's a big dude, Mexican cat, and he's from Santa Ana. We grew up together. He's like, Suge, get in the car, let's listen to this shit. And I remember he played like a new song I had did, and Suge heard the shit, you know, and afterwards Suge was like, I can't lie, that shit was hard as fuck, you know. I remember King Little G wanted to get on the song with me at that time. When I can't remember the name of the song. But I was doing a rap album then, I never finished it. Because I always get caught up producing artists, so.
Yeah.
I don't know, what I want to do is do an album with a bunch of different artists on it.
Like a compilation, pretty much.
Yeah, a compilation with a theme or something, and put it out. And it's a big mistake that I haven't done that yet.
Well, let's touch a little bit on something, because I wanted to bring you back, and you wanted to come back when you had something, and me and you had just kind of just talked about it going back and forth, but we never really sat down. I've been wanting to sit down, even just to kind of go a little bit more in depth into it. You asked me one day, we need to open up a record label.
Yeah, I still think that, because I've had my own record labels and I've produced albums that have made other people multimillionaires, and I'm like, I need to do that shit myself too. But it's a lot to do by yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I need like a counterpart, someone that's passionate about music like I am, that's got his head on right. You know what I mean? Like me and you, we just get along good.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
From the get-go.
We come from the same like generation of hip hop and music.
Yes.
You know, I was touring with Booyah Tribe when you were probably touring with a High C.
Yeah.
You know, both of us DJing.
Yeah.
You know, and making beats and stuff. And for us to come together now, thanks to Doughboy Tony.
Yes.
Who was like, I remember his dad was like, you gotta meet this guy, Tony A. I'm like, I know who he is. And, you know, and that's when I had first heard about the show.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, oh, and I was like, I don't ever do interviews because I don't know, I just haven't. But I remember I called you and I'm like, you know what? After I talked to you for a little, I'm like, bro, I'd love to come and do your show.
I remember where I was. I think I was at the park working out, and I had my headset and I was talking to you, and we just started talking, and I was like, how do we know so many of the same people but we'd never met?
Yeah.
You know,
because probably in the same building, you know, I don't know, but like even like I had opened up for DJ Quick and Mac 10 and those guys back in the day when you were with High C.
Right.
And I remember we went to like Nebraska or some shit. That's when I was on stage rapping with the homie back then. His name was Trayvon. He's super dope. Rest in peace. From over there, from Compton and stuff, from that neighborhood.
Okay.
Same as Quick, I think, are from Fruit. Anyway, but we were around all these different people at different times. You know, and with the same passion of music. Like I saw a video of you fucking scratching like, you know,
I think it was Tour de France.
Tour de France or some shit, and it just reminded of me how much I used to fucking love to DJ. And like when I saw you doing it, it just got that fire back in me again, like, oh shit, look at that.
Yes, bro. You know what's funny? And I can still do that.
I know you can.
You know, I can still do that. The thing is that people have been telling me, when are you going to do it live? When are you going to do it live? And honestly, I'm at that point now where like, I want to get paid, man. Fuck that. Like, you know, if you want to hire me, I'll go do it. But like somebody asked me, how much you charge for a quinceañera? I'm not that kind of DJ.
Yeah.
You know, I usually DJ.
But there is a price.
You're right. There is a price.
And it matters what family the quinceañera is for, probably.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, bro.
You know,
exactly.
like I came back to DJing because for a money thing, I guess too, but for the love of it, like I missed being in front of a crowd sometimes. So I came back to it. But the money gigs, I mean, it's fucking, you make good money DJing. You just have to tell them, like, you know, because I'm so busy with music, I don't have to DJ. But if I want to DJ, I can go do it, but I want this amount. And if they say no, okay, I won't do it.
We're good, yeah.
But if you pay me this, guess I'm going to go there and I'm going to fucking turn up, you know?
Yeah, turn up.
Yeah.
Darren, and we come to the end of our interview. So I wanted to ask you, well, first of all, I wanted to thank you for giving me the honor and the pleasure of you coming here and allowing me to interview you. any shout outs you want to give or anything I didn't ask you that you want to cover, you want to promote, we're going to play also your commercial again, because I do want people to hit you up, because there's not too many people that I shine light on when it comes to engineering, when it comes to production, but I will point people your way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Shouts out to my wife, Arcelia, my sons, Hunter and Dylan. To put beats out there for lease, to just let people have your shit to bump in their car.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I totally changed my mind about all that. And now I'm excited about it, And I still think we probably should do a record label.
I'm down.
Because there's so much talent.
And a lot of talent comes through here.
Yeah.
And a lot of talent comes through here that, believe it or not, doesn't have the wisdom to like, where do I go with this?
Yeah.
They're dope, they're talented, they're gifted, but in a sense, they're like, what do I do now? Is it just, in their mind, is it just YouTube? Is that it? And likes on Instagram?
Yeah.
It's a lot more than that.
I think Erica, somebody like Erica who's managing Bella, she's like in the trenches right now. You know what I mean? With going out and seeing what it takes to help push an artist.
Yes.
You know what I mean? To try to get him a tour or to get him shows. So we need people like that to work with the label too.
Yes.
Because we can't do all the shit that we're doing and be hooking up that part.
Exactly. And the good thing is we have a good platform here where you produce them. We have a record label, we have a studio, and we promote them here.
Boom.
So, okay, hopefully we can set up a meeting and continue to talk about that. Yeah. So, other than that, everybody, we're going to go ahead and take a MR.DEE out here. We're going to chop it up again, and then we're going to show the video y'all been waiting for. So, other than that, make sure you call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody, and let them know that MR.DEE's in the motherfucking building. We'll be back 5 minutes. Alex, take us away.
What's up? My name's Darren Vegas. I'm a multi-platinum producer and engineer out of Orange County, California. I'm like a coach that's going to help take you to the next level. A lot of people think that you can just download beats off YouTube and all of a sudden you're going to make it in the rap game. Boy, it takes a lot more than that. There's a lot of techniques that I've learned over the years that I'm going to teach you. Valuable stuff that you just can't get anywhere else. I custom produce artists. So when you come in the studio, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to see what kind of artist you are. And I'm going to custom make the music right for you, right on the spot. So you're a part of it. It's something that a lot of artists and a lot of producers don't really get to do. I feel that the interaction is going to make the music the best that it can be. So if you're there for the making of the beat and the music, you're going to feel that music. I'll produce a track for you. You could take it home, work on it, practice it, come back to the studio. We'll work on it together, and then you're going to lay your vocals, and you're not going to believe like how you sound.
Wow. The instrumentation of, or the importance of the Rhodium swap meet and the mixtapes in the careers of Eazy-E and NWA and Dre and Yella and a lot of other folks too, even Battle Cat, you know, was very, very high because, again, they needed an outlet, particularly when people weren't really checking for them and that sound that they were trying to create elsewhere. At the Rhodium, you had at least a way to sort of mass market your stuff and have people listen to it and give it an opportunity and give it a chance. And because Steve believed in and already had a relationship with Dre and Yella, he was more open to allow them to do that. And they were doing mixtapes for him too. Dre was doing them, Yella was doing them. So you could squeeze in, or they could squeeze in or sneak in some of that NWA stuff. So when people bought the mixtapes and they heard the songs in there, yo, what's that song? That's dope. I want to hear that again. So it was a way to really market NWA and market the material that they had that wasn't getting, you know, let's say the radio play or getting the distribution that it needed at that time.
You know, Steve is definitely a part of the beginning. He was there, gave everybody a voice, and that was in the beginning. It gave everybody inspiration to want to do more. Like you, made you want to do more. Like me, made me want to do more. Like Q, everybody, Ren. It goes down. The list is so long on how the Rhodium swap meet inspired people to be able to put music out because people couldn't put music out there. You know what I'm saying? So if you get your little song and you put it on the Rhodium swap meet, it'll be all over LA. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have to press up no records back in there. But you did, but if you got them to Steve, they would be on the mixtape because he would put them on the mixtape. And I remember he was bringing the big crate and Steve, you know, you get the crate and put them diamond style. And he would pick them up, give them to Drake, 4-track. They had the 4-track right there. And Steve would just sit there the whole day. They sit there the whole day. So I just remember that. I mean, you know, a lot of stuff happened back then. You know, we went our separate ways, you know, but at some point,
Wow. The instrumentation of, or the importance of the Rhodium swap meet and the mixtapes in the careers of Eazy-E and NWA and Dre and Yella and a lot of other folks too, even Battle Cat, you know, was very, very high because, again, they needed an outlet, particularly when people weren't really checking for them and that sound that they were trying to create elsewhere. At the Rhodium, you had at least a way to sort of mass market your stuff and have people listen to it and give it an opportunity and give it a chance. And because Steve believed in and already had a relationship with Dre and Yella, he was more open to allow them to do that. And they were doing mixtapes for him too. Dre was doing them, Yella was doing them. So you could squeeze in, or they could squeeze in or sneak in some of that NWA stuff. So when people bought the mixtapes and they heard the songs in there, yo, what's that song? It's dope, I wanna hear that again. So it was a way to really market NWA and market the material that they had that wasn't getting, you know, let's say the radio play or getting the distribution that it needed at that time.
You know, Steve is definitely a part of the beginning. And he was there, gave everybody a voice. And that was in the beginning. It gave everybody inspiration to want to do more. Like you, made you want to do more. Like me, made me want to do more. Like you, everybody, Ren. It goes down. The list is so long on how the Rhodium swap meet inspired people to be able to put music out because people couldn't put music out there. You know what I'm saying? So if you get your little song and you put it on the Rhodium swap meet, it'll be all over LA. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have to press up no records back in there, but you did. But if you got them to Steve, they would be